Welcome back to another class snapshot video for Dark and Darker, this time looking at the Bard. Bards are the latest addition to Dark and Darker's roster of classes, and while they're currently a little undercooked, they offer a unique playstyle that can cause a lot of chaos. Whether you want to bolster your allies, dive into combat, or simply rock out with your loot, the Bard might be the class for you. Starting off with the class's strengths. First of all, Bards are a force multiplier. So while they don't have amazing buffs, being able to apply a decent speed buff and weapon damage bonus to your entire group in a single song, that's pretty powerful. Second, recovery. Bards can significantly reduce the time it takes to recover after a fight. And while Tranquility is limited to gray HP, it has unlimited uses, it procs Warsong, it can be used in combat, and it stacks with resting. So Bards will keep you topped up and ready to go for your next fight. Next is speed. Between reducing recovery time, a quick interaction speed, and a team-wide speed buff, Bard parties move through the dungeon very quickly. Next, Bards have a decent selection of weapons. With access to great melee weapons like the Rapier and the Falchion, and even some decent ranged options with the crossbow, hand crossbow, and survival bow, Bards are reasonably capable combatants with a variety of playstyles. And a final strength of the Bard is free gear. They have a perk which gives them bonus gear when looting, and combined with their ability to open chests quickly, Bards can make decent money and get pretty geared pretty easily in the dungeon. Next, we're going to talk about the Bard's limitations. First up, the Bard is squishy. The Bard's unique armors are lacking in defense and unique stats, and Bards in general don't really have much in terms of protective abilities and perks. It can often feel like you're just playing a weak fighter or a rogue with less mobility. The second limitation of the Bard is that the loot takes up a weapon slot, so even though you have access to a wide range of weapons, it can be a little bit tedious to access them. A third weakness of the Bard is their stat allocation. Bards have a lot of points of knowledge, and it doesn't really do much for them. So, right out of the gate, Bards are a little bit weaker than a lot of other classes. Another limitation, Bards are loud. While your songs can be a great way to start a fight, you aren't really getting the element of surprise. And a final limitation, and I will admit this one is not going to be for long, Bards are just a little bit undercooked. They currently only have 2 useful skills. One of their 4 abilities literally does nothing, because there's only 4 song sheets in the game, so being able to access 2 sets of song sheets does nothing. They also only have 5 perks, and this is going to change in the future, but for now, they feel a little bit weak. Moving on to some general tips for playing the Bard effectively. Number 1. Don't be afraid to toss your loot in your bag and run a sword and crossbow combo. It takes almost no time to quickly pull your loot into one of your weapon slots and strum out a song when needed. Tip number 2. Song of Chaos is a great way to solo annoying rooms. Just remind your friends, if you have them, not to get too close to the mobs. Tip number 3. You can pacify entire rooms of enemies near the end circle and have your friends open escape portals. Song of Peace can completely nullify the enemies while you're able to get a quick escape. And finally, while pacifying prevents friend and foe alike from using weapon attacks, range attacks can still be fired from outside the circle, clerics can still use judgment within Song of Peace, and spells can still be cast. For example, a Bard Cleric Wizard combo can completely shut down a melee team while still dealing most of their damage. This can be incredibly obnoxious. And that's all I have for the Bard. Definitely going to be some changes coming in the future, but for now, I think it's a pretty solid class, and I had a ton of fun with it in the most recent playtest. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.